Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something so real, yet questioned if it was truly love or just chemistry? That quiet voice in your heart whispers, does he really love me, or does he just like the way I make him feel? Let's be honest, in today's world, it's hard to tell. Text messages, social media highlights, and temporary emotions can mimic love so well that real connection often hides underneath the noise. But authentic love, that's different. It's not loud, it doesn't need to prove itself. It's steady, patient, and deeply felt, even in silence. In this video, we're going to decode what authentic love truly looks like when a man feels it for you. Not the kind of love that fades after the honeymoon stage, but the kind that grows roots, the kind he protects, nurtures, and chooses every single day. Because when a man feels authentic love, his energy shifts. You'll notice it, not in his grand gestures, but in his consistency. Not in his promises, but in his presence. His actions will speak a language your heart recognizes before your mind even understands it. By the end of this, you'll know the difference between a man who loves you because it's convenient and a man who loves you because it's real. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's explore what authentic love truly means and how to finally recognize it when it's right in front of you. When a man truly loves you, his emotions don't just show up in words, they show up in moments. Moments where he could hide, but chooses to be seen. Moments where he could pull away, but instead steps closer. This is what I call the emotional depth test, and it's not something you can fake. A man who feels authentic love doesn't just tell you how he feels, he shows it through the emotional risks he takes with you. Watch what happens when he's vulnerable, not just when everything is perfect. When he's upset, tired, or stressed, does he shut down and retreat, or does he still try to connect? True love reveals itself not in how he behaves at his best, but how he chooses to love you at his most uncertain. Pay attention to the little things. Does he listen when you speak, really listen, not to respond, but to understand? Does he remember what matters to you, not just the big events, but the quiet details that others overlook? Authentic love lives in those details. When a man feels deeply connected, he starts investing emotionally, not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. He wants to protect your peace, not your perception of him. You'll also notice his emotional availability shift. He begins to let you in. Maybe he tells you about his fears, or the parts of his past he never talks about. That's not weakness. That's love taking shape in real time. Because for men, opening up emotionally isn't casual, it's sacred. And here's the real test. When conflict happens, he doesn't weaponize silence or distance. Instead, he fights for the relationship, not within it. That's emotional depth. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. When a man feels authentic love, he's not afraid to be known. Flaws, fears, and all. He lets you see the truth of who he is, because he trusts that your love is a safe place to land. That's how you'll know, not by how often he says I love you, but by how consistently he proves it when words aren't enough. Sometimes the most powerful confessions aren't spoken, they're shown. When a man opens his heart without words, you'll feel it long before you hear it. It's in the quiet gestures, the way he looks at you when you're not paying attention, the softness in his voice when he says your name. Real love doesn't always announce itself. It moves through small, intentional acts that speak louder than any I love you ever could. A man in authentic love begins to express it through presence. He shows up, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. You'll notice how he makes space for you in his life, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. He'll want to be part of your world, to know what excites you, what worries you, what keeps you awake at night. And even when he doesn't have the perfect words, he listens with a kind of focus that tells you you matter. Pay attention to how he protects your emotional energy. A man who truly loves you won't compete with your peace. He'll nurture it. He'll do small things that make your day easier, not because he has to, but because your happiness brings him a quiet joy. Maybe it's the way he checks in to see if you made it home safely, or how he remembers to bring your favorite coffee without you asking. These aren't random, they're reflections of emotional investment. You'll also feel his heart open in moments of silence, when you sit together without needing to fill the space, when his presence feels grounding instead of heavy. That's love in its most genuine form. It's not about constant reassurance, It's about calm certainty. You don't have to question where you stand, because his actions create emotional safety without demanding validation. And when he looks at you, really looks, it's different. His gaze doesn't just see you, it feels you. It says, I'm here. I see you. You don't have to earn my affection. That's a man whose heart is speaking without words. True love doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need perfect timing or eloquence. It lives in the silent promises, in the unspoken moments that whisper you are loved, even when I don't say it out loud. Real devotion isn't always grand or dramatic. It's quiet, consistent, and steady. It's not about public declarations or cinematic gestures. It's about what a man does when no one else is watching. When a man truly loves you, his devotion weaves itself into the everyday rhythm of your connection. It becomes visible in the choices he makes. Small, simple, yet profoundly meaningful. You'll notice it in how he pays attention. He remembers the little things, how you like your tea, the stories you tell twice, the way your mood shifts when you're overwhelmed. He doesn't just listen to reply, he listens to learn you. Real devotion is built on awareness, on the desire to understand you deeply, not to fix or control you, but to love you as you are. He'll also show devotion through reliability. When he says he'll do something, he follows through. When he promises to show up, he does, not just physically, but emotionally. That reliability becomes a language of trust. You stop wondering if you can count on him, because he's already proven that you can. Devotion doesn't demand constant reassurance. It creates an unspoken certainty that he's there, even when things get hard. Watch how he reacts when life gets inconvenient. Does he disappear when you need him most? Or does he lean in, even when it's uncomfortable? Real devotion shows itself when it's tested. It's in those moments when he could walk away, but stays. When he could protect his ego, but chooses connection instead. That's the difference between infatuation and devotion. One thrives on ease, the other endures through effort. You'll also feel his devotion through how he speaks about you when you're not around. A man who loves you authentically will honor your name in rooms you never enter. He'll defend your character, uplift your spirit, and make sure others respect the space you share with him. His loyalty isn't performative, it's instinctive. He protects what he values, and if he loves you, that includes your dignity. Another subtle sign of devotion is emotional consistency. He doesn't fluctuate between hot and cold affection. You'll find a steady warmth in the way he communicates, checks in, and stays attuned to your emotional world. He might not always say I love you in poetic ways, but he'll make sure you feel loved every day, through effort, patience, and emotional honesty. And perhaps the most beautiful part, he makes you feel safe enough to be you. Real devotion doesn't ask you to shrink, it invites you to bloom. He doesn't compete with your light, he protects it. His love doesn't demand perfection or performance. It simply says, I'm here, I choose you, and I'm staying. That's what real devotion looks like. Not in the moments of passion, but in the quiet ones. Not in the promises, but in the proof. Every day, through every action, he shows you that love isn't just something he feels, it's something he does. When a man truly loves you, prioritizing you doesn't mean losing himself. It means finding balance between his individuality and his devotion. Authentic love doesn't erase identity. It refines it. It doesn't ask him to abandon his dreams, passions, or values just to keep you close. Instead, it inspires him to grow with you, not around you. When a man loves you deeply and genuinely, he doesn't see your presence as a limitation, but as a grounding force that helps him become the best version of himself. You'll notice this balance in the way he integrates you into his life. He doesn't isolate his world into separate compartments, you and everything else. He invites you into his routines, his plans, his ambitions. He talks about his goals and wants to hear about yours. He's interested in creating a rhythm where both of you can move in harmony, not in competition, but in alignment. That's how love becomes sustainable, not one person orbiting around the other, but two people sharing gravity. When he prioritizes you, it's not about constant attention or sacrifice, it's about intentional presence. He gives you his time without making you fight for it. He shows up for important moments, even when he's busy. He checks in not because he feels obligated, but because you're on his mind. His actions say, you matter to me, while still allowing space for his own life, friends, and ambitions. Real love doesn't require either of you to disappear. It asks you both to show up fully and honestly. You'll also recognize how he handles boundaries. A man who feels authentic love respects both yours and his. He understands that closeness doesn't mean control. He doesn't lose himself in you, nor does he demand that you lose yourself in him. He values mutual independence, the idea that two complete people can choose each other every day without needing to complete each other. That's emotional maturity. It's love rooted in respect, not dependency. Pay attention to how he balances his priorities when life gets complicated. Even in his busiest seasons, he finds small ways to make you feel seen. A quick message, a moment of affection, a reminder that you're part of his world. He doesn't disappear into work or stress. He learns how to hold both his goals and his relationship with care and intention. That balance is a quiet kind of devotion, one that says, I'm not losing myself, I'm growing with you. The truth is, real love doesn't consume, it complements. It doesn't demand that he give up his identity. It allows him to express it more freely because he knows he's loved for who he truly is. When a man prioritizes you without losing himself, what he's really saying is, I choose you and I also choose me, because together we're stronger when we both stand whole. Emotional consistency is one of the clearest signs that a man's love is authentic. It's the quiet stability beneath the chaos of emotions, the steady rhythm that tells you he's not here just for the highs, he's here for the whole story. When a man truly loves you, his actions, words, and energy align. You don't have to decode mixed signals, because his love speaks in one clear voice, reliability. Mixed signals, on the other hand, are emotional confusion disguised as connection. One day he's warm, affectionate, and expressive. The next, distant and unreadable. When someone's feelings fluctuate without explanation, it leaves you walking on emotional eggshells, wondering what version of him you'll get today. Authentic love doesn't feel like that. It doesn't keep you guessing. It makes you feel safe. A man who is emotionally consistent doesn't play with your peace. He values it. His communication is grounded, not perfect, but honest. When he says he cares, his behavior backs it up. He doesn't disappear when life gets heavy, nor does he withdraw affection to gain control. Instead, he's transparent about what he feels, even when it's uncomfortable. That kind of consistency builds emotional trust, the foundation of any real relationship. Consistency also shows in how he manages conflict. Instead of punishing you with silence or mood swings, he seeks understanding. He doesn't use emotional distance as a weapon. When he's upset, he talks. When he's unsure, he explains. When he's wrong, he apologizes. These are not grand romantic gestures. They're mature emotional habits that come from genuine love. Notice how he treats you when things aren't convenient. Anyone can be loving when it's easy, but emotional consistency shines when life tests patience. Does he maintain respect even when frustrated? Does he still show care when he's tired or distracted? Those moments reveal who he really is. A man who truly loves you doesn't fluctuate based on circumstance. His presence remains steady because his love is rooted, not reactive. Mixed signals, by contrast, are often a reflection of emotional immaturity or uncertainty. They make you question your worth, when the truth is, the inconsistency isn't about you. It's about his inability to stay grounded in what he feels. A man who's still unsure about himself can't offer stability to someone else. But a man who's emotionally aware and secure will create a relationship that feels predictable in the best possible way. Safe, calm, and clear. Real love isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not measured in dramatic highs, but in emotional steadiness that stands through every season. When his tone, touch, and attention remain aligned with his words, that's when you know this isn't a temporary feeling, it's a lasting commitment. Love that's consistent doesn't demand to be chased. It simply stays. Vulnerability. It's one of the purest, most revealing expressions of real love. When a man feels safe enough to be vulnerable with you, he's showing you a part of himself that few ever get to see. It's not weakness. It's not fragility. It's trust, the kind that says, you're my safe place. And for most men, reaching that point doesn't happen easily. Society teaches them to stay strong, to hide pain, to keep emotions locked away. So when he opens up, even in small ways, It means he feels something profoundly real. You'll know he's becoming vulnerable when he stops hiding behind perfection. Maybe he tells you about his insecurities, the fears that live quietly behind his confidence. Maybe he admits that he's been hurt before, that he's scared of losing you, or that he's unsure if he's enough. These moments aren't rehearsed, they're raw. They don't come from wanting your approval, but from trusting that you'll hold his heart gently. When he starts to replace guarded silence with emotional honesty, that's when you know his love has depth. But here's something powerful. Vulnerability doesn't always look like emotional breakdowns or long confessions. Sometimes it's in the small gestures. When he reaches for your hand after an argument. When he lets you see him fail without pretending he's fine. When he asks for your advice, not because he needs it, but because he values your perspective. Vulnerability is the bridge between fear and love. And when a man crosses it, he's not just letting you in. He's inviting you closer to his truth. Creating that safety for him is just as important. When he shares something tender, how you respond matters. If you meet his openness with judgment or dismissal, he'll retreat. But if you meet it with empathy, with presence, he learns that his emotions are safe with you. That's when connection deepens. Vulnerability becomes a two-way current, where both of you can show your truths without fear of rejection, and you'll notice a shift in the energy between you. The conversations become more honest. The silence is more comfortable. He starts expressing affection more freely, not because he feels he has to, but because he wants to. His laughter feels lighter, his affection more natural. Vulnerability doesn't just make love more intimate, it makes it more real. Men who love deeply don't open up because they're forced to. They open up because they feel safe, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. That's the space where authentic love grows strongest. When a man feels seen, not for his achievements but for his essence, he begins to love without fear. And when that happens, his vulnerability becomes his strength, his honesty becomes his love language, and his connection to you becomes unshakable. When a man is truly in love, you don't need to search for clues. His entire presence becomes the evidence. Real love doesn't live in constant reassurance or perfectly crafted words. It reveals itself in patterns, in the everyday rhythm of his actions. It's not about how often he says "I love you," but how naturally he shows it over and over, in ways both big and small. One of the clearest signs he's truly in love is emotional consistency, paired with intention. He's not just affectionate when it's convenient. He makes time, he shows up, and he follows through. You'll feel the steadiness in the way he communicates, no confusion, no emotional roller coasters. His love is calm, not chaotic. He doesn't leave you guessing where you stand because his actions remind you daily, "You matter to me." Another undeniable sign is how deeply he respects you. Love without respect is temporary, but when a man truly loves you, he honors your individuality, your boundaries, and your dreams. He doesn't compete with your strength. He celebrates it. He listens to your opinions, even when they differ from his own, because your voice carries weight in his world. Respect is the foundation of how he shows love, not through control, but through freedom. You'll also notice how he invests emotionally, not transactionally. He's not with you because of what you can offer him, but because of who you are. He wants to grow with you, not just build a life that looks good from the outside, but one that feels peaceful on the inside. He supports your healing, your growth, and your self-expression. When you win, he feels proud. When you hurt, he feels protective. That's not attachment, that's devotion. Another subtle but powerful sign, his long-term thinking shifts. He begins to include you in his future, not just as a possibility, but as a certainty. You start hearing "we" instead of "I." His decisions start reflecting your presence, from small daily plans to big life goals. That's how you know his love isn't temporary, it's intentional. And perhaps the truest sign of all, you feel safe. Not the kind of safety that's built on dependency, but the kind that allows you to be yourself fully. You don't feel the need to perform, impress, or prove your worth. His love gives you peace, not anxiety. His presence feels like home, not a test. When a man is truly in love, his energy tells the story before his words ever could. You'll feel it in the way he looks at you, how he softens in your presence, how he protects your heart without ever trying to own it. His love doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be real. And when it is, you'll know, not because he tells you, but because you'll feel it in every heartbeat, every glance, every quiet moment that whispers, "This is love." As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to breathe and really let everything sink in. Because what you've just learned isn't just about understanding him. It's about recognizing what real, authentic love actually feels like. It's calm, it's steady, it's safe. And when a man truly loves you, you don't have to chase proof of it. His actions, energy, and presence speak for him. Authentic love isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It's in how he shows up even when life gets messy, how he listens when you need to be heard, and how he lets himself be vulnerable because he trusts your heart with his truth. Real love is not found in fleeting passion or constant reassurance. It's built in the quiet, beautiful moments where both of you choose to stay, to understand, and to grow together. If there's one message to carry with you, it's this: you don't have to earn genuine love. The right man won't make you question your worth or compete for his attention. He'll make you feel seen, valued, and emotionally secure. That's how you'll know, not through grand gestures, but through quiet consistency and emotional clarity. And now, as you reflect on what love should feel like, ask yourself, am I creating space in my life for this kind of love? Because authentic connection starts with you, your boundaries, your self-respect, your openness to receive love that's gentle and strong at the same time. If this video spoke to your heart, don't let the conversation end here. Subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and let me know which part resonated with you the most. Every story, every question, every perspective adds to the understanding of what real love looks like. And together, we're building a space where authenticity replaces confusion and love replaces fear. And remember, the love you're seeking isn't rare, it's just real. And when it finds you, it won't make you feel anxious or unsure. It will feel peaceful, like finally coming home to a place you didn't know you were missing. So stay open, stay grounded, and trust that the love meant for you will always recognize your light. Because when it's real, you'll never have to question it, you'll simply feel it.